Hey team, it is day 76, 14 days to go. I hope you guys are doing great. I actually broke 215 today, so I was pretty excited about that. 14 days to go. You guys can do this. Let's get into the rest of the goals. But first, I did have someone write in and ask, should I be switching my workout, quote unquote, routine every 4 weeks? Just to make sure I'm mixing it up so my body doesn't get stagnant. We'll go over that in a little bit. But like I said, 214.8, 2018 calories, got my water, got my sleep, got my activity. The protein was 178 grams. The whole macro with 2,060 calories. I had a few to go. I just ate more fat than protein, and some of the protein I had was fatty. It was a little different. Anyway, that's that. But I'm super happy about the 214.8. So let's answer the question. Should you, or me, or anybody, be crazy about switching my workout or your workout every 4 weeks? And the question was around like, hey, it's so I can keep, my body, confused, right? And keep getting benefits from the workout. So when me and my buddies started working out a while ago, I mean, it's been a while, I don't want to date myself, but that was the common thing that we said, you got to keep things going, separating, you got to switch it from high reps to low reps to this to that. High intensity, low, just all over the place. We had to make sure we were constantly switching things, otherwise our body wouldn't respond. And I'm just going to call BS on that right now. So don't get me wrong. I like to mix up my workout here and there, but do you have to after 4 weeks or a specific amount of time? You'll probably get bored with what you do over time, but the answer is no. You don't have to. Depends on, I always say how many calories you burn depends on two things, right? And there's probably more than two things, but I like to just make things easy. So for me, it's like, hey, if you want to switch every 4 weeks, go ahead. Like, yeah, if you want to mix it up, but you're burning calories, which is what we're concerned with in the trifecta, calories, water, sleep, as long as when you're looking at your activity, you're like, hey, we talked about it yesterday, I get a little more weight I want to lose. I want to crank it up a little bit, or I want to burn more calories, but man, I only got the 30 minutes to do it in. So, I mean, Richard, you said you like to walk. I like to do stationary cardio because, my knees are bad and but I only have 30 minutes. So if I don't switch it up, am I just going to fall stagnant with my weight loss? And like I said, the answer is no, but the two things it depends on, I don't really like brown. Why do I always put that brown one in there? Two things it depends on is intensity and duration. So take, for instance, these are just the two things. I don't know what I'm doing here. But take, for instance, let's talk about cardio, right? So I have a half hour to do it, and let's just talk about walking, for instance. So I could walk for a half hour, I listen to my audiobooks, and I'm walking a mile. Mile and a half, let's say I get 2 miles in. We'll say we walk about 4 miles an hour. And then I say, well, I'm gonna run that same mile, because for some reason I only got to run the mile, but you burn more calories running per minute than you do walking. We probably know that, but why is that? You're carrying this mass over the same distance, so it comes to like, is walking a mile or running a mile, do I burn the same calories? And it's like, well, the intensity is higher with running. It's roughly right around 30%, unless you were able to speed walk 5 miles an hour, 5.5 miles an hour, which is super fast. And speed walkers are doing that as far as from a walking perspective, because that basically gets you into for me, it's a jog. 6 miles an hour is 10-minute miles, actually a decent jog to me. I just don't really like running that much. Yeah, but I mean, intensity would be the difference in there, is you burn approximately 30% more calories if you run a mile versus walk a mile, and you get there faster. So technically you could run longer if you have 30 minutes. But when you think about, let's say you're doing lifting, for instance, right? If you are, you got a half hour and you're doing squats, or you're doing bench press, or you're doing overhead press, or you're doing machines, you could do the intensity or the duration. The intensity is, hey, the weight that I'm putting against, or the time under tension that muscles go for from a lifting perspective. So that's a way you can increase it. But I'm a push-pull legs person. I do mix up what I do in those days here and there, but for the most part, I have been doing that pretty religiously. And I know that if I want to burn additional calories or get additional like increase in muscle mass. As I get older, it's actually really hard without drugs to gain a ton of extra muscle every year. But I know that if I want to, I have to slowly increase the resistance or the amount of weight over time. That'll build your muscle. For a cardio perspective, if you're doing the elliptical for a half hour and you're like, hey, I can't do any different, but how do I get more? You increase the intensity. Or you go from 30 minutes to an hour at the same intensity. If you're like, I'm already kicking my butt with this intensity, I can't really do it more, go to the duration. I mean, that's pretty much it. I don't need to drag this out anymore, but please challenge me on this. Challenge me on this. I do not believe you got to mix it up. Hell, it's already hard enough to get yourself that time and reserve that time for you and to be selfish for yourself, which you should be, just for the activity side. And that's why I say focus on calories, water, sleep. You do not need a ton of additional resources for that other than a tracker and a scale. Drink your water and a schedule, some discipline to sleep a little longer. That will jumpstart you on a better lifestyle. And when I say activity, that's one I've always told you will probably go first. But we talked yesterday about, hey, I have a lot to lose. I have a lot of weight to lose, right? And this kind of comes from that, just kind of an extension for yesterday. Well, I have a lot to lose, and I gotta lose more. But does that mean if I switch it up every 4 weeks, that's going to help me lose more? Well, it will if you increase the intensity or duration. If you only have a half hour, then it's the intensity you got to do. From a walking perspective, well, Richard, I can only walk for a half hour, and I can't really walk fast. But how do I increase the intensity then? It's like, well, find some hills to walk up, and get that gradient going so it can push a little harder on the intensity, right? When you're stuck with time, that would be the biggest thing is the intensity. So maybe you start a slow jog for that. So it's just a different way to look at things. But honestly, to get that more caloric burn, these are the two things you should focus on. If A, you're not super knowledgeable yet on what you should be doing. B, don't believe this crap. You don't got to mix it up every 4 weeks. And if you're working with a trainer and they tell you about, hey, we're going to mix this up, that's fine if you're following a trainer. They're probably pretty well knowledgeable on your goals, and as long as they know your goals, they'll help you get there. So if you're doing a ton of different things with the trainer, great. A lot of us don't have those resources and time, to schedule and work with that trainer. So I would say if you're by yourself and you're doing this by yourself, or you don't have a workout partner, remember these things. You don't have to change it all the time. You just got to increase that intensity or duration if you are able, and you will get caloric burn in that activity session. So I hope this was interesting. I know it wasn't super elaborative, but I just wanted to kind of dispel that myth that you got to keep things going so your body doesn't get used to it and get stagnant, and then you don't lose any more weight or burn any more calories. That's just simply not true. And challenge me if you guys find some significant data that shows different. But keep the questions coming like this. Keep the comments coming. I'd love to answer those. And if you have any more content for future videos, let me know. Got 14 days left, but we'll continue to do this afterwards on different things. And as always, I look forward to talking to you guys tomorrow, and I greatly appreciate your support. So thanks again.